back to a pay-per-view fight week after what was maybe the worst UFC pay-per-view of all time with UFC 21, horribly ending with Tom Aspinall getting his eyes raked out, not being able to see that. I mean, having a card like this UFC 322 card, and we'll get into how stacked this card is in a minute, AJ, but just backing up to the Aspinall card for a second, like you're watching live, what was your reaction at the time? Were you thinking there should have been a DQ? What was your thoughts?
Um, I was in Beatles with my buddy when this happened, and I actually didn't have a good experience because he was wanting to leave right as the main event was happening, like, going on, and he was like, "No, we're leaving." He pulls it up on the website, and I was like, "No, I just want to watch it here." He's want to leave. We're going to eye poke. I thought, I mean, if it was as bad as it was, I feel maybe a DQ could have been grounds. At the very least, if Tom Aspinall truly couldn't continue, then yeah, DQ. But at first, I thought they were just going to definitely take a point away.
Oh, it was
Um,
definitely going towards getting a point taken, as it should have. And the thing about it, with it being a DQ or not, is that the fighters get the rules and they essentially get their first warning in the locker room. Like they, excuse me, the rest will always give them a pep talk going in before they even walk out. So, and it still just doesn't seem to make a difference. I mean, it seems like week after week we're getting some sort of eye poke, and for it to happen to Tom after over a year of not fighting, dealing with the entire John Jones situation, the back and forth, the not knowing when he's going to fight again, as the champion or as a champion, it's just gutting for Tom. Hopefully he'll be able to get back soon. I don't suspect he will get back this calendar year. They want to, with the ESPN deal ending, Paramount coming up in January, they're going to want to put him on some sort of Paramount card. I suspect February or March, if I had to guess. Obviously, there's no information behind that guess. Just seems like a simple timeline with Tom being as active as he likes to be. Um, I could just see beginning of the year, first quarter. I don't think it's going to be January. I think we all suspect Ilya Taporia is fighting January and will be main eventing, but we'll worry about that whenever we get there. For now, we've got what, in my opinion, is the best card since UFC 300, and I don't even know if that's much of a debate. I think the only other card that you could even talk about in the conversation with it would be the Ilya Taporia versus Max Holloway card that took place last year in Abu Dhabi. That was up to that point the best card since 300. I think this card, frankly, blows that card out of the water. I mean, first card ever where we have two fighters going up, two former champions going up in weight, trying to capture double champ status, two belt status. It's historic, and the card's stacked top to bottom, and I could not be more excited.
yeah, I mean, our predictions will start here, but going down the fight, all the fights on this card. I mean, you've got Sirshikayev, who's getting a big name for himself. Has obviously fought on 319. Hamzat Chimaev's buddy. He's fun to watch. Some other notable names: Kyle Dukas and Gerald Mershart. Big
GM3, baby.
names.
We love GM3 around
GM3.
here.
This fight just got added yesterday. Vyacheslav Borshev. Malcolm Wellmaker versus Cody Haddon, I think, is a very underrated fight on this card. I think it'd be awesome. Good ranked fight. Teresa Cortez, Aaron Blanchfield, Roman Kopylov, and Gregor Rodriguez. Bo Nickel moved down to the prelims. I think is a good decision. So there's a lot
That was
of
a
big
big that,
names
that
on
was
this
kind of a big
card.
that was kind of a big storyline heading into the card. Weirdly, was if Bo Nickel was going to keep up his status of being on pay-per-view main cards, and I think the UFC did the right thing here. Bo Nickel's coming off a loss. It's fine for him to be the feature prelim fight, and frankly, for Bo Nickel, it's better for him in my opinion. I mean, it doesn't affect his pay. It's gonna get seen by way more people being on ESPN News and on national TV. Um, it's I mean, there's no complaints about Bo Nickel there, especially coming off
Mhm.
of a loss against RDR. But as far as predictions go, we will start with the main card. I'll leave this one up to you first. Benil Dariush coming off of his win against Renato Moicano, a win that I don't think either of us suspected he was going to get.
Yeah.
Going up against BSD, who just had an awesome victory in his last out. How do you see this going? Finish, decision? Who you got?
So I don't know because I thought about this one for a while because I still don't think BSD is that good. He's got a little bit of momentum now. Obviously with the submission against uh and in the submission against Hoofy. But I honestly don't rate those wins that high, especially the Prepelic win because I mean that's just a jobber that frankly was just there to give him a rebound. Um,
You don't rate the Mauricio Hufi win that
Oh, the
highly?
Hoofy win is good. I think Hoofy definitely is someone who could be ranked. Like Prepelic is someone I don't think could ever be ranked. Hoofy has the potential to be ranked. But I mean, Hoofy just ended up gassing out. Kind of got fraud checked there. But Hoofy still did good in that fight. Rocked him a little bit on the feet. Was able to reverse position. Hoofy didn't look bad, but obviously BSC got the finish there. And I don't think that he's going to be able to keep up this ground game on someone like Benel Dariush. Benel Dariush is very, very good. I think he's underrated. People forget that he was supposed to fight Islam at one point.
Booked
And it
multiple
was,
times with Islam.
yeah, and it was tricky. People, I mean, that was, I think, would have been a hard fight for Islam. Um, Benil Dariush is the way he's able to just control on the ground and be hard to for people to control him on the ground. I think that's going to not favor BSD, but I think BSD is a little too old at this point. Um, well,
You
yeah,
mean Benny?
36. 36. He said give you Benny.
No, I said you mean Benil's a little too old. You said
Oh,
BSD.
yeah, no. Yeah, I think Benil's a little too old. BSD's young. He's got a little bit of momentum. So does Dariush though, coming off that good win over Moicano, who's on a little win streak. So I think I'm gonna go BSD by decision. Um, I don't think BSD has the tools to finish Moicon or to finish Benny. He definitely doesn't have on the ground game, and he's not someone that has crazy knockout power. I mean, when's the last time you've seen BSD knock anyone out? Um, he really,
The Matt Favola, it might have been the Matt Favola head kick.
yeah. And obviously his most powerful strikes are his kicks and elbows. I think he'll be looking to use those, but I think I'm going to go BSD by decision.
I like BSD here. I kind of disagree with it not being able to go to a finish from where you're looking at it. I think with BSD, the way we've seen his fights, I think it's kill or be killed for him, and I think it's going to be all out action, win or lose. It's going to be brutal for him if he loses. It's going to be a highlight if he wins. I mean, you look at his last two fights, like you said, beat Rufy, that was a submission in round two. Beat Propolek, submission in round two. His losses, last two losses before those, Hanato Moicano gets knocked out in the second round. Dustin Poirier gets knocked out in the second round. And then before that, you had the round one head kick TKO of Matt Favola that I mentioned earlier. And even before that, Thiago Moises, it was a round two knockout. With BSD, it's kill or be killed. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to press the action. He's going to put on the pressure, be on the front foot. I actually think he can crack Benny here. I know Benny is slick with his hands. He's underrated with his hands, honestly. He throws good shots down the middles, but I think BSD's pace is going to be a little much for Benny. I think what we saw in round one of the Moicano fight, where yes, Benny did end up winning that fight, but whenever he was getting pressed, he got caught up against the cage and almost got finished. I think BSD's someone that's going to be able to finish the job. I think BSD is going to get a round two knockout or maybe a knockout or a knockdown leading into a submission, maybe a rear naked choke. But I'm going to lean with a knockout here. I'm going to say round two late in the round. And I think BSD kind of gets his momentum back that he had going into his fight with Dustin Poirier.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's true. One thing I want to point out that I'm sure you saw that we forgot to cover, new fight shorts on this card. Venom is
Yeah, Venom's updating him a little bit.
yeah, I kind of like them. I'm excited to see
I
JDM
don't
in the
mind them.
black and gold.
I'm very indifferent when it comes to the normal Venom fight shorts. I mean, they're just fine to me. This card is a big custom shorts card. We've got Valentina, who I think has the most underrated custom shorts in the UFC. I think it's their top three, and that's probably a hot take. Zhang Wei Li's are incredible with the red and gold with the Chinese stuff all over it. Islam, second fight in his with the mountains and the
These are
gray.
clean.
His are really nice. And then I believe
Leon
there's
Edwards has some, but
Leon Edwards
he didn't wear them in the Sean Brady fight,
in
so I don't know.
yeah, he didn't wear him in the Sean Brady fight. He didn't, and I don't know if he wore him in media day this week, but he did have the green with the British flag for his fight with Bilal Ahmed. So we'll see if he pulls those back out. I'm not shocked one bit that Jack Della's not wearing custom shorts. It just doesn't. Jack Della just doesn't seem like the kind of guy that like would
He doesn't
embrace the
care.
custom shorts. He doesn't care.
Mhm.
He's there to do a job. He's there to get in and get out, and he'll have a tough test, which we will talk about at
Yeah.
the top of this. So
The next
we
fight we
move on.
have Leon Mumblemouth Edwards versus CP. I'm not gonna say the joke as a law enforcement officer, but Carlos Prates, man. Probably my favorite fighting nerd. No, is my favorite fighting nerd. One of my favorite fighters on the roster right now. I always love seeing him fight. Obviously coming off that huge, crazy spinning elbow knockout from 319, walk off. So I'm really excited to see how he does here. But how do you think this one goes?
So this is going to be a common theme for me on when it comes to predictions on this card, but I've gone back and forth on this one a lot. And especially from a betting perspective, seeing that plus number next to Leon Edwards' name, which is something that you don't see besides his name all the time, it's very tempting as far as betting wise goes. I've not played the card yet. I haven't put in any bets yet, but I think I have to lean Carlos Prates here just because there's no secret here. This is going to play out on the feet. Leon is has stated that he's excited to have a fight camp and have a fight where he knows he's not going to have to worry about any ground game. I mean, you look at his last opponents, Bilal Muhammad, Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, all wrestling heavy fighters. And now Leon, the argument for Leon here is that he's going in a little bit with a freer mind, to where he can just work on and prepare for what he does best. Pinpoint striking, staying on the outside, picking his opponent apart. My problem here is that Prates is a little bit longer. I think Prates throws his straight shots a little bit better at this point in their careers. Prates 100% hits harder than Leon Edwards. That's not even a debate. Prates is also a little bit more creative when it comes to the strikes, a little bit harder to guess on what his movements. Leon is a master of the basics, and he's a master of picking people apart from the outside. I just don't know if he's going to be able to withstand the storm that's coming towards him with Prates. And I feel like Leon's shown at times that he can be a little chinny. Um, and I haven't seen that at all from Prates really. And as far as Leon's power goes, we know he's got the high kicks that can flush anybody, but I think if it mainly plays out with the hands, which I think it will, honestly, um, I think this is Prates' wheelhouse, and I think he gets a finish. Um, because another thing with Leon is that Leon's a little bit known for being a slow starter, and this being a 3-round fight, the first 3-round fight that he's had in years. He's been main eventing, fighting in title fights for years now. Um, I think the pace of it is going to be a little bit of a problem for him. I think he's going to start off slow again, and I think that'll catch up to him. Whether it's even if it's a decision, I like Prates here. I don't think it's going to be a decision though. I think it's going to get into the third round. I think Leon will have moments potentially early, um, maybe, but I mean it could be more second roundish. Could be even 1-1 going into the third round. Um, but I think Prates is going to find him at some point, and I think it's going to be late in the fight. I'm going to go with Carlos Prates getting a round 3 knockout.
Yeah. Obviously, people that watch know how I feel about Leon Edwards. I don't think he's that good. I don't. He's a very point fighter with zero knockout power unless he flukes a head kick. Um, and I mean, when you're out here getting wobbled and rocked by Nate Diaz, who could have knocked you out if he wanted to, that's
I
not
mean,
gonna go.
that was a while ago though.
It is, but I mean, that's not gonna.
The
It's not
problem
gonna go well for someone.
one point I'll make real quick. Sorry to cut off. The
Oh, you're good.
problem with for me with Leon was he was getting outstruck by Bilal. And I understand Bilal's threat of takedowns were there, and that's why he was getting outstruck. But that's still a big factor. And if you get Leon backing up, he can get hit. And I think Prates is going to be able to make that happen. But go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I think Prates is gonna be able to walk him down, really control the fight. Um, they're both longer, I will say. So that's not really an advantage that Prates has because Leon is
I'm
also can play at range. I mean, we've got it right here. I mean, he does have the longer reach. Prates does, so I think he does have the advantage. But yeah, I don't think Leon Edwards is that good. I think this start of his downfall. I think we're going to see him go on a third fight losing streak. And I see Carlos Prates walking out there with another highlight reel knockout, and probably I think I'm gonna go the late second round. I see him getting a knockout on Leon Edwards, because I can see Leon trying to wrestle just a little bit, just because we've seen that's what you have to do with Prates. Ian Gary was able to mix in the wrestling and pretty much dominated that whole fight. But even then, Ian Gary almost got finished at the end. So, um, I think that's something we could see from Leon Edwards, but I don't think he grapples that well. So he probably won't lean on it. So yeah, I've got Carlos Prates by round 2 TKO.
We're aligned so far. Let's see if that continues.
Next fight on the card. I'm actually super excited for this one. Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. Sean Brady is someone who has been talks of fighting a lot of people recently. They thought he was going to fight Ian Gary on the Qatar card. There were talks of him fighting some other people after the Leon fight. But I think this is great. I love Michael Morales. He's one of my favorite welterweight fighters. And this was a tricky fight for me. I really didn't know how I was going to pick this one. but I just feel if you're gonna get TKO'd by Bilal Muhammad, I feel Michael Morales can find a shot to put you out. So personally, my pick is Michael Morales by TKO.
So I said before we got into the Sean Brady and Michael Morales fight that we had been aligned so far. That ends now. I'm going with Sean Brady. I think he's going to be too much on the ground. I actually think this is going to play out very similar to the first 3.5 rounds of the Leon Edwards fight up till the finish. The only difference here is it being a 3 round fight, obviously. I don't think Sean Brady's going to get the finish. I think Morales will be able to do enough to stay out of those deep waters as far as being submitted. But I think the advantage on the ground here is gaping, and it's a massive advantage for Sean Brady here. And I the striking isn't always pretty with Sean Brady, as we saw in the Bilal Muhammad fight, but since then, it's looked good enough. I mean, we saw Leon Edwards and Michael Morales are very different strikers. Not saying they're the same, but we saw Sean Brady be able to stand with Leon for certain stretches at a time and be able to withstand going up against a seasoned, experienced striker. And I just don't know if Morales is going to have the gas tank, especially if he's on bottom, trying to get out of positions that Sean Brady puts him in. I think that Sean Brady has some of the most underrated cardio in MMA, and I think that is what's really going to show here against Michael Morales. I think there's going to be a lot of control time. I wouldn't be surprised if people started booing during this fight.
Yeah,
But
I can definitely. Oh, sorry.
now
Continue.
you're good. You're good. That
Oh,
being said, I got Sean Brady by decision.
yeah, no, I could definitely see Sean Brady doing it because in the Gilbert Burns fight, we saw, Michael Myers was able to rock Gilbert Burns, and Gilbert Burns was still able to take him down. But I feel he's learned from that. Hopefully, I hope. I feel he has. And obviously he knows he's coming in fighting one of the best BJJ users in MMA right now. Um, and I think he's going to be ready for the takedowns. By no means is he on the level of ground game that Sean Brady is. I do expect him to get taken down, but I just think he's going to be able to find the shot to put Sean Brady away.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing that's really interesting. We've kind of got a welterweight sort of round robin on this card. Obviously, we had the title fight with Islam and Jack Della, and then we've got these two on the main card, two extremely important fights in the welterweight division. There could be a lot of shakeup in the rankings come
No,
to
I mean,
come
because
next Tuesday.
I believe Sean Brady's ranked 2 right now. Um, Sean
I believe so,
Brady's
yeah.
2. Michael Morales is 8. I don't know what Leon Edwards is. I think he's maybe 9, and Protest is there too. So
No, Leon's definitely higher than that.
is he? Is he like
Yeah,
5?
I think he's still in the top 5. I'm gonna pull it up right
Yeah, I think
now, actually.
Protest is like maybe 12 or 10 potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, Leon Edwards is number 4 in the division because he was the number 1 ranked contender whenever he got beat by Sean Brady.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of discussion of Sean Brady maybe shouldn't have had to wait for a title shot at all or fight again. But obviously, with Islam coming up and Islam being the pound for pound guy that he is, you have to give him a title shot going up, which even Sean Brady admitted. So props to Sean Brady for not sitting on his ranking and taking a really hard fight against
Ugh.
another one of these young
Shavkat.
killers.
Shavkat.
We don't have to get into that. Carlos Prates is number 9 in the division. As far as what happens in welterweight after this, I think it's clear that the winner of this Sean Brady Michael Morales fights for the title next, especially if it's Sean Brady, especially
Yeah.
because you could argue.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a clear argument right now that Sean Brady should be able to wait for a title shot even if he wanted to.
Yeah,
You beat the number one contender, Leon Edwards, at the time, who it was Leon's first fight since he had lost the belt. If that doesn't get you a title shot or earn you a title shot, I don't know what would. Obviously, it's a different circumstance with Islam coming up. And like I said, respect to Sean Brady for not just sitting on the ranking and really going out to make a statement here in New York. But if Sean
yeah.
Brady gets this, there's no denying he gets a title shot. And I feel the same about Morales. With Leon and Prates, I think both of them are still a win away from a title shot with a win on Saturday
I
night. If
believe
it's
maybe the winner of Leon Prates fights Shavkat. I think Shavkat has to fight someone else
could fight
before.
Shavkat, could fight Kamaru Usman, could fight the winner or loser of Ian Gary versus Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah,
It it can get real interesting with the winner of that Prates and Edwards fight, and with the Brady and Morales fight, the winner gets a title shot, and I don't see it any other way.
yeah. Next fight, super excited. Probably the most excited I've ever been for a women's fight. Zhang Weili versus Valentina Shevchenko. I do believe this is the best, highest level women's fight we have ever got in the sport.
More than
Um,
the fight that we're gonna get next year.
uh, Nunez and
Nunez and Kayla
I mean,
Harrison.
technically that fight hasn't even happened, but it's up there. I mean, this is good. I think. Okay, I don't know what this. Okay, I
Yeah,
think
get that little tab out the way.
lighter man skill, lighter woman skill will play into this. Tina likes to clinch up a lot, and um, I think that's where Whaley does some of her best work when she mixes in those elbows with uppercuts. Um, I think she's really good in the clinch, and I think she could tag up Tina. Tina obviously very very good striking. Um, was able to outbox Manon Farrow, who I thought was the best striker in her division. Um, so this is definitely gonna be a tough fight, but I don't really by decision.
So your audio cut out a tad bit there. I believe you just said you have Zhang Wei Li by decision. Is that correct?
Yeah, Zhang Weili by decision.
Got it. I'm going the other way. I'm going with Valentina. I'm going with the woman that has reigned over this division for years and years and years. And I'll say this, I won't be shocked either way. I know that's kind of a cop out thing to say, but it's the truth. Um, and I see the path of victory in my head for each of them. For Wei Li, I think her path to victory is pressure and keeping Valentina on the back foot. I feel like Valentina is going to want to grapple and wrestle offensively against Zhang Wei Li, maybe similar to how Rose did in the second fight that they had, also in New York City, back at UFC 268. But for Wei Li, if she can keep Tina on the back foot and force some pressure on her and hit her with some big shots, I mean, personally, I think the power can't could be able to transition from strawweight to flyweight. Um, that being said, I don't think anyone's going to get chinned in this fight. Um, but for Valentina, the reason that I'm picking her is, as I said before, I think this fight's when it's going to be standing, I think they're going to be in the middle of the octagon a lot. I think it's going to be your turn, my turn striking. I think there's going to be counters involved. I think Valentina with the striking is going to be able to figure out Zhang Weili's timing a little bit. It's not going to happen immediately. And I actually think Zhang Weili is going to win some of the earlier rounds, potentially even the first two. I think she'll win the first round. Um, but I think going into championship rounds, fighting at 125, I think Tina's experience is just going to play in here. I think winning all the long title fights that she's had that have gone to decisions will play into factor here. I think she's going to be able to get some control time late into the third round, fourth round, fifth round. That'll seal the deal. Maybe even get a crucifix position on Zhang Weili and rain down some elbows. Um, I like Valentina Shevchenko here by decision, and we'll see what happens from here. I will say this. I think it's better for the UFC if Zhang Weili wins.
Yeah, there's definitely more they can do there because
Well,
well,
here's the thing.
if
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If Zhang Weili wins, you just do the rematch with Tina. You have something there, and you still have the two biggest names in the division. Tina's beat Grasso and defended against Manon Fior. You're not gonna if Zhang Weili beats her, you're not gonna be begging for the winner of Aaron Blanchfield and Tracy Cortez, or you're not gonna be begging for Talia Santos to get in.
no,
Or
but I think you're forgetting Natalia Silva, who's
Natalia Silva, that's who I meant to say. I got the names mixed up.
I
Natalia
think
Silva.
if Tino wins, you definitely do Natalia Silva. She
100%.
deserves it. You could even argue if Zhang Weili wins, you could give Natalia Silva the title shot over Valentina Shevchenko. I think she definitely deserves, her flowers. She's someone who I think could reign over that division after, some of the top dogs are gone. But one of the reasons I'm also picking Zhang Weili, you said the continued of control time. After watching how good Zhang Weili was able to mitigate the wrestle from Tatiana Suarez when she was undefeated, and I think she did incredible on the ground there with someone who was had insane wrestling and going into that fight. John Lee, I think, did amazing at not letting Tatiana Suarez get her wrestling going. So I'm not too worried about Valentina's wrestling. So
So here's the difference. Here's the difference with that and this fight. With that Tatiana Suarez fight, Suarez won the first round of that fight on pretty much anyone who watches scorecards. But the problem with Tatiana Suarez is that she got predictable. And her being so one dimensional showed after that first round ended. Valentina Shevchenko is not one dimensional. She's far from it. The threat of the striking is going to be there all fight. And to be honest, Valentina, I think, is a little bit more dynamic of a striker, with the kicks especially. Um, and Jean Willie's going to have to worry about her striking the whole time. And I think Valentina is going to be able to get her takedowns whenever Jean Willie potentially overswings and loads up on punches. Um, we'll be able to dive in on some double legs and single legs as Weili is punching. So I do get what you're saying. Tatiana Suarez is an elite wrestler, and Zhang Weili was able to mitigate that very well. But Tatiana Suarez also didn't threat anything else but that, so she got predictable. That is not Valentina Shevchenko, and that is why I think Valentina is going to be able to win. She'll be able to
yeah,
mix it up both, I think, perfectly in a way that Weili hasn't seen since Rose, who gave her problems.
yeah, it will definitely be interesting. I'm excited to see this fight. But now the main event. I don't think I have ever been more excited for a main event.
These are your two guys.
These are my two guys. I've got both my Islam posters up right here in front of you. You guys can't see them, but they're behind my TV. Um, I have been so stoked just waiting for this fight. Jack Della has blown up after that. After the after the Bilal fight, grew into stardom. I mean, you saw him in Volk. I don't know where they were. They were, I think it was a WWE event in Australia, and he got a louder crowd pop than Volk did. Um, so he's blown up into stardom. And this fight has been so hard. I've been fence sitting it. I really have. Um, with Before I tell my pick, it's just been hard. I don't think people think that this is such an easy fight. I think it, and so does Islam's whole team. Khabib has said it. I think this is by far Islam's hardest fight in his entire career.
Could not agree more.
I think JDM might be the most underrated champion we have on the roster in terms of his skill and how actual good he is. A lot of people downplay it. And I think it really showed in that Bilal fight, who people said, well, Bilal shot the same amount of takedowns he did against Leon Edwards in the JDM fight. JDM is just that good that he was able to mitigate it. But at the same time, it's Islam, who was pound for pound number one for so long. Um, Arguably could still be pound for pound right now. Uh, Someone who I don't think the weight, is that big, especially after seeing them.
Creatine Islam.
Yeah, creatine Islam. He looks big. He looks good. I don't think that it's going to be too crazy. I mean, look. I mean, JDM's only an inch taller than uh than Islam. So before I tell my pick, I'll just let you go.
Oh, you were setting it up so perfectly for you to make your pick.
Yeah, I
You
know,
got
but
to finish it off.
you want me finishing off?
Go
So I do
ahead.
have I
Floor
have
is
my
yours.
pick underneath this. This has been a big fight that I've been set. Just keep in my head, wondering how it's gonna go. But person that I've decided on, I think is gonna win. Actually, at this point, I kind of know that they're gonna win.
Really?
This is how I feel.
Oh,
Hold on.
I know who that is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now it's stuck. Oh, there we go. Uh,
The reveal's ruined.
JDM. I think Jack Della Maddalena is gonna shock the whole world. Um, and win this fight. I think these odds are insane. JDM should be at plus 225. Like I said, I think he's probably the most underrated champion we have. He's so good. I think he has some of the best defensive grappling that we have that anyone has to offer in the UFC. Like I said, he shot the same amount of Bilal shot the same amount of takedowns he did in Leon Edwards' fight, and he couldn't do anything with them. He's and obviously I don't know if you've watched JDM's YouTube channel, but his coach and them were talking. They said pretty much since they beat Bilal, they knew that they've been planning for Islam. They knew this is the fight they were going to get. So
Jack knew what was coming as soon as he beat Bilal. He
yeah,
knew.
Jack knew what was coming. They said since mid-May they've been game planning for Islam. Obviously he still has Craig Jones in his corner.
I was about to mention that.
Yeah, Craig Jones has been sparring with him. JDM submitted Craig Jones, made Craig Jones go to sleep. I don't know if you've seen that video.
Hmm.
Um, He's been sparring with Volk. He's been looking good in all the videos I've seen, and that's something to downplay Islam. Islam looks really good. Islam looks big. He looks like a beast. This is easily just as hard as a fight for JDM as it is for Islam. Just because I say JDM is this great takedown defense, but it's still Islam's wrestling, who's in his own level of wrestling, nowhere near the level that Bilal's on. Um, and he's strong, but I don't think JDM is going to make mistakes like everyone else does. The reason I pick JDM fully is because I go back, I look at the Volk fight and the Dustin Poirier fight, and they gave Islam trouble, especially that first Volk fight.
Islam was there
Volk,
to be hit.
he's always there to be hit. He wears his damage very badly. He got cut very badly in the Dustin Poirier fight, who now he's fighting a better boxer. At this point in his career, he's a better boxer than Dustin Poirier was when Islam fought him. I think he's going to be able to reverse a lot of positions, and I think he's going to be such a motherfucker to hold down on the ground. He's going to be ripping shots to the body. Um, and like I said, Islam wears his damage very, very, like, when he's been hit, he always has been hit by a truck. He's very easily hittable. Um, as I said, I went back to the Volk fight and the Dustin Poirier fight, and I think JDM just looks better than those two did when they fought Islam. And I know, like I said, I don't think he's going to make the mistakes that some of these other guys has been doing. With, like, you can't tell me he hasn't been in the gym working on not putting his neck out to get caught in the darce. And if he does, I'm sure they've been working on how to get out of the darce. It's just something you have to work on when you fight Islam. Like I said, I think this is the biggest fight of both of their careers. And I think JDM has been game planning well. I think he has all the tools to beat Islam. So my pick is JDM by decision.
Got it. So correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you think this is going to play out eerily similar to the Bilal Muhammad fight.
I think it will. Now, I'm not I'm not dull. Islam will take down JDM. It's inevitable. It's gonna
Of
happen.
course. Yeah, he
But
will.
I think JDM has the skill to get out of it and not get hold down like Poirier did or like Volk did in the first fight a couple of times. And even then, Volk was very much able, so was Dustin Poirier, to get out of it and scramble back up on the feet. And I think JDM can punish Islam a lot more than Dustin Poirier or Volk can when that happens.
Yeah, so that's the thing that you got to be that if you're picking Jack or if you're rooting for Jack, that's the thing that you have to worry about. It's the fact that he's been able to get taken down at times pretty easily, but what you love about Jack is that the scramble ability to get up. You saw it multiple times against Bilal Muhammad. You saw it in the finishing sequence against Gilbert Burns. He was getting taken down easily that whole fight. And in the finishing sequence, he scrambled out beautifully and then perfectly timed the knee as Gilbert shot back in. Um, the question is that scramble ability going to be there with Islam Makhachev? That is one of my main questions. My other main question is how Islam is going to do on the feet against someone like Jack. Islam is no scrub on the feet. Islam is, frankly, a very, very good striker. Um, isn't going to have that much of a reach disadvantage against Jack. And I mean, throwing the straight shots and the high kicks as well. I mean, Islam can hurt people, and Islam can make people wear damage themselves. I've been going back and forth with this one a lot early on, whenever it first got booked, and even getting out of the Bilal Muhammad fight. I was leaning Jack Della Maddalena, and now I'm kind of at that crossroads where, as I said before, with the Tina and Weili fight, I wouldn't be surprised either way. I and honestly, sounds crazy. I don't see a finish here from either. I think if anyone was more likely to get a finish, it would be Islam.
Yeah, I think he could. I mean, he has the ability, and no, I don't say it's lightly with Islam because he has skill. But if there was a finish, I think it would be Islam fluking a submission.
Yeah, I don't think Islam's chinning Jack and knocking him out. Um, I'm gonna roll with Islam Makhachev here, and I simply am going to do it because one, I'm not gonna be the guy that picked against Islam Makhachev in a title fight whenever it's Islam Makhachev, and he's given me no reason to think that he can't beat anyone in the world, even an Ilya Taporia, if that fight were to ever happen. Which, if Islam wins this fight, that fight's never going to happen. Ilya is not moving up to 170. The UFC is not going to let him. Um, so if Islam wins this fight, which I think he will, scrap the Taporia fight. Get it out of our heads. It's never going to happen. It's going to be one of the ones that got away from us, and we're just going to have to live with that, unfortunately. Islam also kind of instilled in some confidence with me with media day, and there were a lot of questions about what Islam's mindset was going into this fight, whether he would maybe potentially take the Habib route and retire if he won. Islam went up there on the mic and said he wants to have as many title defenses as Kamaru Usman. Islam's been preparing his body, like I said, creatine Islam, building a real welterweight frame. He's walking around at about 190, 192 ish, which is pretty good for a welterweight frame as far as how much weight you cut. Um, I think we're going to be a little shocked whenever they go into the middle of the cage and as the ref is explaining the rules about how Jack's not going to look as much bigger or much bigger at all compared to Islam as we maybe think he should. And I think Islam's just going to be able to mix it up on against Jack better than Bilal did. I think Islam is going to be able to be a little bit more unpredictable than Bilal was. And people forget Bilal was landing on Jack in that fight. Jack had a black eye after that fight. Bilal was landing strikes well against Jack, but just wasn't able to do anything with his takedowns. And I think that's the difference with Islam here. Islam will be able to do things with his takedowns. He'll be able to get ground and pound effectively that I think Bilal could not. Um, there will be submission attempts. I think Jack's going to be able to be savvy enough to get out of them. And I think both of them are going to have their moments. I think this is a 3-2 fight no matter who wins. Potentially even moments where we think either guy is going to get finished and then it doesn't happen. I have to roll with Islam until he shows me otherwise. And it's no knock against Jack. I think Jack is one of the best in the world. I think I completely agree with every sentiment that you put out there about him being disrespected by the media, being underrated by fans, by the betting line. But that being said, I have to roll with Islam Makhachev here. I have to, until I see otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely hard to pick against Islam. Like I said, I mean, he was number one pound for so long, reigned over the lightweight division. But just like I said, going back to Islam fights and JDM fights, I just feel JDM has the skill set to beat Islam. Um, Especially, and a lot of people like to point to some of JDM's fights, like the Bethel Civ fight, where I don't think that was a split decision. I think those refs or those judges were smoking crack. I mean, JDM about fucking killed the guy in that fight. Same with the Kevin Holland fight. That should not have been a split decision. JDM beat
No,
the shit
not
out
at
of him.
all. Jack clearly won that.
And even the Gilbert Burns fight. Personally, I had it 1-1 going into the third. I could definitely see someone having it 2-0 for Gilbert Burns, but I had it 1-1. And he's just someone who has a lot of heart. He's very tough. He's seen it in the Gilbert Burns fight when he broke his arm, and on the broken arm was supporting his weight to defend takedowns against Gilbert Burns. And you could tell he was hurting with his faces, but he wasn't letting it affect him.
And that arm
He's someone
injury
who's
kept him out a while.
yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it broke. Um, but he's someone who's just so tough, who's not going to quit, who wants to win. I mean, he's someone who is just straight up born to fight. Uh, and I think that's just some of the mentality you have to have going into a fight with someone like Islam Makhachev, who everyone thinks is someone who could finish, is going to finish you within the first round.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, like I said, I will not be surprised either way. I will say from a betting perspective, I will put money on Jack Della Maddalena just because of where his odds are. Because
you'd be
I don't
silly not to.
because I don't think he should be at plus 200 at all. I'll actually check his odds right now. Um, I won't say which book I'm going to use, but we'll check what his odds are right now because okay, Jack Della Maddalena, I'm seeing plus 215.
Yeah,
And
that, let me check. I'll check the one I have. Um,
I'm seeing plus 215. We'll see if that's moved any because, like I said, I think Jack's too good to be that much of an underdog. So from a betting perspective, I will put money on the money line for Jack at those odds. He's too good not to. But
yeah, I mean, this one
if I
has
was
him at 3-1 odds.
really,
This one that I just, and that's insane.
yep, still plus 215 on my book here in North
Yeah.
Carolina. But I I mean, if I'm just picking the fight, no bets, no nothing. The way I would look at it from a betting perspective, I would put a straight bet on Jack, and if I'm putting in any parlays, I would put Islam in the parlays. That's how I would treat it if I'm gonna be making any bets. But betting aside, Islam just seems inevitable, even at times where you feel he shouldn't. He just seems inevitable, and I think that continues.
Yeah. No, super excited. Like I said, both my dudes, kind of a win-win for me. But I mean, JDM's just growing on me so much. He's just so cool. He's so hard not to like.
Well,
And like I said,
We're gonna break it down after the card's over, give our reaction, breakdown of what we thought of each fight, and we'll see y'all then.
Yep.